An economic gunshot has been fired from United States of America to India with its epicenter in Washington to New Delhi. Trump had already put a 25% tariff on India and we have already spoken about it. In addition to this 25% tariff, Trump has put an additional 25% tariff on India, saying that the goods now will be purchased at a 50% higher cost. What it means to India, how India will react, and how India has reacted. These are the things we are going to be seeing in today's video. Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to be speaking about the additional 25% which Trump has put on India and what it means for India. In addition to the 25% tariff which the President of the United States of America has put on India, he has added another 25% tariff to India, stating national emergency, saying that India has unfair trade practices and that the goods they buy from US have more tariffs than the goods which US buys from India. He says that the trade deficit is about $45 billion and we have to compensate it. He simply says that you buy more from us, we will buy more from you at a lower tariff. He also says that you are buying Russian oil, because of which Russia's economy is booming and they are able to fund the war in Ukraine and they are killing more people, and indirectly the USA had accused India of funding the war in Ukraine. The Indian government, on the other hand, had been very strong. They have clearly stated that we are not going to bow down to this. They have clearly told that our security for energy for the Indian people is our primary importance and we will continue to buy Russian oil because we have been doing it for a long time now and we will continue and we will not bow down to international pressure. They have also pointed out the double standards which the United States of America is talking about, because United States of America imports uranium from Russia which are used to power the nuclear reactors there. But still they are telling India not to buy oil from Russia when they are importing uranium from Russia, saying that they have put so many sanctions, still they are buying that. And India have strongly said that they will continue to buy oil from Russia. Now let's understand what do we mean by these secondary sanctions. We all know the President of United States of America, Mr. Donald Trump, has already put a primary sanction on India 2 weeks back. That time it was 25%. Now he has put an additional 25%, saying that there will be secondary sanctions. Now, what this secondary sanction means. Let's take an example. I am country A and I am trading with country B. But this country B is going to put a primary sanction on me, which means that only trade between these two countries won't happen. That is, B will not do any trade with A now and only that will be affected. Now, secondary sanction means, suppose if there are other countries like C, D and E, this country B will say, whoever does trade with this country A, we will not trade with them or we'll put a higher import tariff for them. This will prevent the other countries like C, D and E to trade with country A, and this will lead to crippling this country A's economy. This is what secondary sanction means, and this is what the USA is trying to put on India, or at least threaten them to say that if these secondary sanctions are put, your country's economy will cripple. Before we put this secondary sanctions, you please stop buying oil from Russia. In spite of this showdown and USA threatening India to not trade oil with Russia, why is still India trying to buy oil from Russia? For this we need to go into history. We all know how Russia helped India in the 1971 war when the whole world was against it. There was an Indo-Soviet Union Allied Treaty which was signed in 1971, which was for peace and cooperation. From that time onwards, India have been actively importing and exporting many products from Russia, like the MiG jet fighters, armed tanks and many other things in the military industry. Not only this, now we have to understand one thing. This oil was never imported from Russia to India till the 2022 Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Till then we were buying oil from different parts of the world. But even in 2022, when Russia invaded Ukraine, global sanctions fell on Russia. So Russia now had surplus oil because there were full sanctions on Russia and nobody was buying oil from them. Believe me, that time India was not buying oil from Russia. So this time Russia offered oil to India at a discounted price as much as $30 a barrel. For a developing country like us, anybody will think that if we can buy oil at a discounted price, we can use the money saved in that to the welfare of the people. That is what the government thought, and they started importing Russian oil, because of which our country's economy boomed, because we are saving a lot of money from buying cheap oil and the other money which we save because of this will be used for the welfare of the people. This is what is the side of the Indian argument, saying that we are buying from oil from Russia because it is cheap and it is helping us take care of the energy needs of the Indian population. There is also one more thing which India says. They say that you're still buying uranium and fertilizers from Russia to USA and you're telling us not to buy oil. How can this be possible? When you want something, you are getting it from Russia, but when we want something, we get it, it is wrong. This is not correct, and that is what India is arguing. Another argument Trump plays, that India is using as a back door for this oil from Russia to be exported to other countries. So what they say is happening is, the oil which is coming from Russia is in a crude form to India, but once it comes to India, it is refined to petrol, diesel, jet fuel, and it is being exported to other countries like Europe, because there is no sanction between India and other countries. Only other countries cannot trade with Russia. They can still trade with India, because of which the oil which is coming in the crude form from Russia is being refined here and being exported to other countries. This is one of the main reasons for the frustration in Trump's administration, saying that this crude oil you are taking in and indirectly you are helping Russia to export oil and make money from it and use that money to fund the war in Ukraine and kill a lot of people. We already have an import tariff of 50%. What if the threat of secondary sanctions is real? We already understood what does secondary sanction mean. Suppose secondary sanctions come upon India, what will happen? The first thing will happen is trade problem. What will happen is, to do any trade, we need money. Money is in the banks. Indian banks are intrinsically connected to the global network of banks, and mostly we operate in dollars. That is a global order and we follow that. Now, Indian banks are intrinsically connected to banks in US. Suppose I am buying oil from Russia, I need to send money to them. Then only they'll send the oil back to India. Now, to do that, trillions of dollars have to be sanctioned by these banks to go through these channels to reach Russia. Suppose secondary sanctions are being put on India. Now these banks will have to sever these legal ties with India, and the money will not be transferred to Russia, and this will cripple our economy, because the money is not going, then the oil will not come. This is not only for oil, for any product we are doing with any nation, we need these banks for the money to go there and the products to come back to us. Now this money problem will be there. The second thing is, with the threat of secondary sanctions looming, many people will start withdrawing their money from these international banks. If a lot of people go and withdraw money on the same day from banks, then this can lead to eventual collapse of these banks. Now suppose India gives in and says that, okay, we are stopping to buy oil from Russia, you don't put these import tariffs on us. What will happen? Now we are not buying oil from Russia. Anyways, we need oil. India's energy needs are very high. We'll start buying oil from other countries like the Middle East. Now what will happen? We have to compete with other countries. There the price of oil per barrel is very high. Now the price of crude oil will go up because the demand in Middle East will increase. Now the price of petrol diesel will increase in India, and this will affect the middle class of the Indian population. The third thing which I wanted to share is, now with this import tariff at 50%, what will happen is, will countries which are having their outlets in India, like the iPhone which is being manufactured in India and then they are being imported into USA, with this 50% additional tariff, will these companies like Apple continue manufacturing in India? This is the question which has been looming on all our heads on the last 2 weeks. There are 3 ways in which this can pan out. The first way it can pan out is, India can go on all-out attack to US, saying that you have put 50% tariff on us. We will put back 50% tariffs on you. Now even you pay this money. And then we can double the oil imports from Russia. We can establish trade relations with BRICS nation. But this will turn very ugly. We have been a good partner with USA for so many years, and just for a short time we are not agreeing to trade terms. This should not mean that we are going on all-out war with them. And also the BRICS nation are not ready for, in such a short time, to establish trade relation with India, because India is used to dollar-based system of trade. Once you stop trade relations with US, you have to go to the pound-based system or euro-based system, which is difficult to change in a short period of time, and this first route is not practical. The second route is, India can bow down, say, okay, we will stop importing oil from Russia, or at least cut down. Now you reduce the trade tariff. But this will become a victory for USA, and India cannot show face to the world saying that we have bowed down to America's pressure. So the second route is also not feasible. But third way is the most practical way this situation can pan out. let's say that India, we will say that yes, we are not bowing to international pressure and we are not going to cut down on oil imports from Russia, or we are not going to stop it. But through diplomatic channels, we can talk to the United States of America administration and tell that we are not going to stop. We will reduce it, buying oil from Russia. At the same time, you reduce the import tariffs. This will smoothen the relationship between India and USA. At the same time, India can start diversifying. They can establish trade relations with the BRICS nation, with Southeast Asia and other countries, such that our reliance on a single nation is reduced. And if the same situation happens in future, we can give a better response, because here we are talking about livelihood of millions of people and who are dependent on these imports. And just for the sake of showing face to the world, we cannot say that okay, we will stop trade with USA. We have to follow a route such that even the importers and exporters are not affected. At the same time, we should save face also, and we cannot bow down to international pressure. So better to not spoil relationship with USA, but at the same time, we should start diversifying, start giving other things to countries and getting things from them, and establish trade relations with them, such that if a situation like this arises in future, we can handle it better. India is in the middle of a geopolitical storm. It is between two great nations of USA and Russia. Is India standing between. We have a long history with Russia. We don't want to spoil the relation with Russia also. At the same time, USA has been our long-standing trade partner, and we can sit on table and discuss with them how this matter can be resolved peacefully, such that we maintain friendship with both the nations. The coming weeks is going to tell us how this situation is going to pan out. Do like, share and subscribe me for more interesting videos.